Alright guys, welcome back. Back with the prologue and chapter 1 of book 2, which is Run With Me. So, hope you guys enjoy it. My heart was racing to the point of bringing on a massive attack. Sky had her knee bent up against the passenger side door, biting nervously at her thumbnail. I felt the cocaine begin its drainage days as the bitterness forced me to gag while it slid down my throat. My eyes frantically shifted from the road to the rearview mirror, then back again. My body fell into momentum, pressing firmly against the seat while my foot applied more pressure on the gas pedal. The 67 Chevelle gliding down the highway at 80 miles per hour, making the adrenaline in my blood ignite as I start for more horsepower. Dropping the glove compartment door, Sky pulled out a joint and began smoking to calm the nerves that sizzled from her aura. She'd occasionally glance over at the speedometer, mirroring an expression of wanting me to slow down, but never expressed the words. I found myself gently running my fingertips across the top of a sawed-off shotgun that I had wedged between the seat. The occasional itch in my freshly finished sleeve on my left arm irritated my senses, slowly pulling me from my high. The more I fell into the drug's effect, the tighter my grip became on the steering wheel. I rested back against the seat, replaying last night in my mind over and over again. Losing my thoughts and awareness as the lines on the road flashed by triggering optical illusions within my cornea. Suddenly, blue lights began to strobe in my rearview. My eyes switched over to the left mirror, watching a police car gain on us. "Shit," I groaned. "Mally, please pull over," Sky asked while flicking the remains of her joint out the window. I eased down into first gear, pulling the car over to the side of the interstate. My nerves were set on edge as I watched the officer exit his car, walking up to my side. My hand slid down, clutching the shotgun's handle, while the other bared my license and registration. The night atmosphere helped cloak the gun's existence and that of Sky's dagger, now was gripped between her thigh. Rolling down the window, I gave an uncharacterized grin. "Good evening, officer." And then I'll go on chapter 1. Dare to break the silence. Have you ever thought about how you change your life, and not just within an innocent daydream, but actually going into depth with great detail on what it was that you weren't so fond of, contemplating on a decision to make that will take you down a different path of travel? Life as we know it is made of choices. It is what you make of it. Be wild and free, or reserved and cautious. What if in that moment you did turn the tables, and that conscious reconciliation took you far beyond anything that you had ever imagined? I paced back and forth relentlessly while puffing on a cigarette that suffocated my airway. I went from frantically biting on my nails to running a hand aggressively through my hair, dragging it down my face that was overdue for a grooming session. Sky had barely spoken to me since I refused to answer the 5 W's for her. I didn't want to blow everything months back by telling her what really happened that night at the train station. I still suffered from nightmares because of that shit, leaving my anxiety in shambles for a fucking Xanax just to alleviate my stress. My shirt dampened by continuous sweat excretion quilting the masked devil as his low eyes lacked of sleep. It had been almost 17 hours since my body was firmly pressed against Sky's, while her nails dug into me, daring to never let go. Now, I feared she'd only want to be miles of sight after I had told her the truth. The heroine that rescued me, my heart, by finally detaching it from Nikki's vice clutch, was labeled as my savior, and I was damned if I would ever let her leave willingly. My eyes drew in the sight of Sky leaned up against the wall with her arms folded, just veering off into space. I pinched the end of my finished cigarette, feeling its heat burn my fingertips. My reaction had me quickly motion until it disintegrated to the floor below. Sky's eyes flickered towards mine, so sudden that I could feel it. I swallowed hard, watching her tongue wet her lips in a much-practiced manner. Drawing in a deep breath, I stared back intently as my lips trembled to speak. "Sky," I sighed, "there's something I need to explain to you, and I need you to be as accepting as you possibly can be." Her interest was struck when her eyebrow arched, overlooking the pulsing jaw muscles that ticked beneath her skin. My first thought, by her reaction, was that her mindset was driven to infidelity, or that it was just another person she risked letting in, and it all was about to blow up in her face. Maybe it would have been better for that alternative, rather than explaining to her that she was sleeping with a murderer. Go on, her words broke. It has to do with something that happened back home. Let me guess. You're secretly married. No, it has nothing to do with a hidden marital issue. I cracked a smile. Sky quickly approached me, running her hands smoothly up my chest while pressing her lips against my neck. Mally, you can tell me anything. I've never once passed judgment. I don't think I will start now. I puffed out a rugged breath, pressing a loving kiss to her forehead. We sat for nearly 2 hours while I explained in detail what exactly happened that night. The color didn't return to her face for about an hour, causing her to struggle balancing a calm expression, with horror tugging at the corners of her mouth. Imagining just how freaked out she was, feeling like she was housing a psychopath, made me sick to my stomach. Sitting in a stunned silence, shaking her head, Sky finally spoke. Wow. That was definitely a lot to take in. I need to fucking smoke for sure. She quickly stood from the table and searched for some cannabis. I concurred with the idea, zoning out while Sky rolled a blunt. Taking in a huge inhale, the smoke she released fogged my vision, agitating my eyes. I know you must think I'm fucking crazy. And in my defense, I just went through a hard-ass time, and I nearly lost myself. The memories constantly haunt me, whether I'm asleep or drifting off into a daydream. Sky, I'm fucking scared, to be completely honest. You are fucking crazy, she laughed. But that shit is insane. I am just as scared as you are, yet I'm not going to just up and leave you. I just need to know that, you know, what it is that we're supposed to do exactly. Well, for starters, I need a fucking shower. My eyes narrowed. The steam rose into a thick cloud, making breathing harder than it already was as hot water steamed down my back. The hot liquid made it impossible to see as it continuously beat against my face, piercing my eyes. Sky pressed her forehead to mine, gasping for air as I rammed her against the wall. Becoming weak from compensating all of her weight onto one leg, Sky decided to climb onto my waist, clenching my hips with her thighs while gripping my neck with both hands. Sky looked down, watching me drive in and out. To go even deeper, Sky reached above her head, grabbing hold of the shower head. While I held her hips, pushing in further, the shower head cracked the tile, nearly separating from the wall. I zoned out, watching my length disappearing inside of her vortex, letting the sensation nestle deep into my lower abdomen. For years, I was under the misconception that Nikki was the only female in the world who could ride a dick. And then I met Sky. And then that was a faulty impression to imprison a guy's mind with. She whispered that she loved me, captivating me with her oceanic eyes. My heart fluttered as I took her in by the face with an impassioned kiss, one stuck by fear of letting the words fall from my lips in just the same. I secured the towel lowly to hug my hips, entering the bedroom to find Sky lying on her stomach, messing around on her phone. I laid my face in to place a kiss atop her shoulder blade, slowly dragging my unkempt face down her side, feeling her rib cage rub flush with my jawline. Sky wiggled in the opposite direction, smiling from its sensation. The sheets were laid perfectly across her derriere, causing my curiosity to flow as I admired the perfection of her dimples. I sat myself next to her, gently drawing back the cotton fibers. Now breaking her attention away from her device, I proceeded to lightly trace my fingertips down the curve of her hips. Chill bumps rose against her flesh as her body enlarged with a deep inhale. Sky dropped her head, finally releasing her phone. God, I sometimes hate how good it feels when you touch me. And why is that? I grinned. She turned over onto her back, pulling me onto her face with a whisper. Because of how fucking wet I become, you chic devil. I drew an expression just as my aggressive breath sunk through my teeth, feeling myself getting excited. Is that so? I pressed my lips against her sternum, leaving a trail of kisses down and around her breast, running the tip of my tongue over each mound. Her back arched beneath the warmth of my breath as I made my way down to her navel. My posture became slumped as I lowered to my knees in the midst of giving a light bite to the inside of her thigh. Feeling her quiver from excitement, warm liquid seeped into my facial hair as I buried my tongue deep inside of her. I let out a deep groan vibrating her flesh, hearing her sigh and moan from the transcendence of aspired pleasure. Opening my eyes, I watched Sky slowly squirm, gripping my hair with one hand while leaving the other to roam freely about the sheets. I wanted to make the occasion last, so I merely teased with a slow circulation around her pendulum until she was practically throbbing for release. When I exceeded in pace, Sky climaxed instantly as her body mobilized while her lungs strived for the air that she desperately needed. I felt her hand take a death grip to the back of my hair, yanking me back from an overpowering substance of debauchery. Malice, stop. I can't take any more, Sky bit out. I backed over with a grunt of dissatisfaction. I didn't want to stop. I wanted more. For Christ's sake, my dick was rigid and pulsating underneath the towel, attempting to keep it down. I myself needed release, or to jack off until my corridor artery exploded. No female has ever turned me on as much as you do. Now I'm kneeled before you in egotistical distress, only because I want all of you, Sky. I sighed. Her bottom jaw dropped, causing her breath to fall out in disbelief. Then get up here and show me just how badly you want me, Malice. I want you to take all of me, she said through her teeth. Hours later, I cracked my eyes open, bringing the room into focus. Sky was passed out next to me, so I didn't bother waking her. I checked my phone to see that it was already 6 a.m. We still had to figure out on what the fuck we were supposed to do, or where we were supposed to even go from here. I hated knowing I got Sky mixed up in this catastrophe. But what was worse was that I was taking her from her home. Even though she was more than willing to come, I knew deep down inside it wasn't right. Somehow, I had to redeem myself and get my life straightened out before I was stuck in a cell, gazing at the walls until I was inhumanely euthanized. Or got lucky enough to age to the point where my brittle heart decided to stop beating. Either way, things weren't looking so good for me. Like that was anything new to me, considering that seemed to be the story of my life. Alright guys, so that was the prologue and chapter 1 to the sequel, Run With Me. I hope you guys enjoyed that, because I think I'm progressing with reading these a lot quicker and with more enthusiasm and less stumble. So thank you guys, and let me know what you think. And the next one will definitely be chapter 2. So thank you guys once again for tuning in.